Dr. TurtleBoy walks the line, truth in his hands. Fingers point at shadows, he's breaking their plans. Corrupt suits in the courthouse playing their game. But the lies they sling won't tarnish his name. They try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. TurtleBoy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. Bogus charges flying, but they can't stick. He's cutting through the darkness, sharp and quick. The gavel pounds, but his voice won't break. No matter how much they take and fake. They try to bury him, but he won't go down. Fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. TurtleBoy standing tall in the fight. Truth's his weapon shining through the night. To the edge, but he holds his ground. In the face of their lies, his courage resounds. For every false word, there's a light he ignites. A warrior for truth under courthouse lights. He's been bruised, but he won't lose the war. Kicking down the gates of corruption's door. Dr. TurtleBoy still chasing the sun. The fight's far from over, but he's never done.
Hey, yo, folks. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, or nice evening from wherever on the planet you tune in from. Now, the interest in this case have spiked. So, but the stories that's been told this weekend is TurtleBoy. They're trying to silence him. They're calling him a liar, a defamer. They're calling him a criminal. And many of the people who are completely new to this case is, okay, but who's Karen Reed? And what happened? And then they look for it and discover that that's two trials, long ones at it as well. So what I'm going to try to do, at least, is show the parts of the trial that I believe are the most significant when it comes to why so many people believe that John O'Keefe died in the house, not through hit and run, hit by an SUV. Now, I'm saving the experts because the ARCA testimony is so over the top damning. But for me, what brought it home was the testimony from the House defendants. So that is where I'm starting. Now, hello, folks. Hello, Jenny. Hello, RHM, Courtney, Gigi, New Dark Matter, Evelyn, Christine, Gwendolyn. Hello, everybody over at Rumble. Yes, streaming this on YouTube and Rumble. Hello, Blue Jay. Ah, yeah. This might be the greatest cell phone in the last 25 years. Yeah. Now, the story was big last year during the trial. Well, last year? 2 years? A story, but since then, it's become a bubble. I mean, we have seen TurtleBoy branching out, covering other cases. People were moving on, and now there was great coverage in the defamation, the civil wrongful death. I mean, there was coverage, but not to the gigantic extent it was during the Karen Read trial. So I thought, yeah, as I said, let's show the important parts. And today, we're starting with the second trial and the cross-examination of Jen McCabe. So if you're completely new to this case, don't be afraid to ask questions. Now, I will let the cross-examination speak for itself. I will pause and explain history once in a while, but mostly it's so bad. And yeah, for me at least, it speaks to what I say is consciousness of guilt with the House defendants. So here she is, Jen McCabe. Let's start from the beginning. Alan Jackson, an amazing trial attorney, and he's doing great here. So let's put myself in the corner. Let's see, do I have... Yes. Subtitles. Playing in 1.25 because this takes a while. Good morning, good morning about that law. Good morning, everybody. Jen the Couch Fairy, and Jen is here. Hello.
Good morning, Ms. McCabe.
Good morning.
When was the last time you spoke with Carrie Roberts before your testimony today?
She called me last night.
What did y'all discuss?
She asked if my daughters were going to be staying home from school today because her daughter would possibly join them.
Did you discuss anything having to do with your testimony?
Not my testimony, no.
Did you discuss anything in that conversation with her prior testimony?
No.
Are you aware that she testified last week?
Yes.
Did you discuss anything after that, after she testified with her about her testimony?
No.
We know that through her testimony that you had a conversation with her the morning that she testified.
Yes.
Did you discuss what you anticipated to be her testimony in that conversation before she testified?
No.
Have you and Ms. Roberts ever discussed anything about either one of your testimonies, either in the last proceeding or in anticipation of this proceeding?
No.
Now, Carrie Roberts is the one person who backed Jen McCabe up when it comes to I hit him, that Jen McCabe has evolved her testimony from the first interview, the grand jury first trial. It has evolved. And Carrie Roberts, before this, we will watch Carrie Roberts in a later stream, admitted in trial during cross-examination that she never heard Karen Read say those words. It was Jen McCabe who told Carrie Roberts that is what Karen Read said. So Carrie Roberts lied to the grand jury, lied in the first trial, and admitted to lying in the second trial. Well, she said, "Oh, I didn't understand the question." But yeah, sure.
So for the entirety of the last year, even though you both went through a proceeding last year where you both testified under oath and it was highly, highly publicized, neither one of you, your good friend Kerry Roberts and you, have ever discussed either of your testimonies between that time and this time.
No, we've discussed the case and we've discussed what happened that moment, the moments of the morning, but we have not discussed testimony.
Okay, so let's break that down for a second. I'm talking about, because the timing matters. I'm just asking.
No, we didn't discuss our testimony, but we discussed what happened that morning. Okay.
At this point, if you'll bear with me, just the year from last year at a different proceeding to this year, you have discussed this case.
Yes.
With Ms. Roberts.
Many times, yes.
And you discussed the specifics of her memory, which will be reflected in her testimony, correct?
We talked about what happened that morning.
So you were talking about what she remembers happening that morning, correct?
No, what happened that morning.
Okay, so not to put too fine a point on it, Ms. McCabe, but if you ask me what I had for dinner last night, it's my memory of what I had for dinner last night. Would you agree to that?
Sustained.
Did you talk about her perception of what happened that morning during the last year?
We've talked about what has happened, yes.
Okay, so I'm trying to break it down between you and Ms. Roberts. You've discussed her perceptions and her memory of what happened, as well as, and separate apart from, your memory and your perceptions, correct?
Correct.
So there have been circumstances in which you and Ms. Roberts have compared, by definition, what she remembers versus what you remember, correct?
I wouldn't say compare.
Now let's move to well, what would you say in terms of what you've discussed and why?
I would say that we've both talked about what we've discussed, but it wasn't like a comparison. We weren't comparing anything.
You've talked about what you discussed. What does that mean? Talked about your testimony?
No, we've discussed what happened that moment,
Right.
and in those moments. So, when I got a phone call, and that's my story. I got a phone call in the morning, and then Carrie can say, yeah, I got a phone call as well.
As you said, that's your story,
Not
correct?
my story. It's
Those
the
were
truth.
yours.
It's the truth.
Okay. So for instance, when you got a phone call at 4:53 in the morning, Kerry Roberts wasn't there, correct?
Correct.
But you discussed that with her.
Correct.
And you've told her what your perception of that, your memory of that phone call was, even though she was not recipient to and did not witness that phone call, correct?
I've told her about the phone call. Correct.
As well as many other details that she was not privy to personally, correct?
Correct.
Conversations that you've had, for instance, conversations that you claim you've had with Ms. Reed, correct?
Correct.
And you've told her what your perception is of those conversations, or your memory was, or is, of those conversations with Ms. Reed, correct?
Which conversations with Miss
Any
Reed?
conversations, just anything that she wasn't privy to. We've discussed that with her.
Some things, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And conversely, Ms. McCabe, obviously, she's also discussed certain perceptions and memories that she has about this case, and the facts of this case, as she recalls them, that you were not necessarily privy to, correct?
Yes.
Things that may have taken place outside your presence, correct?
Correct.
And you've talked about things, I'm sorry, she's talked to you about things, now I'm getting myself confused. Y'all have talked about things that were outside of her perception and outside of your perception, and you've shared those with each other.
We've shared our experiences. We've become very close. We both lived through a traumatic experience.
How many times would you say you and Ms. Roberts have discussed your individual perceptions of what you remember happening on the 28th or the 29th of January 2022? How many times?
It would be hard to put a number on that. We talk about, it's hard. We're bonded. We talk about the trauma that we relive every day. Karen called us for help and we both answered the phone.
And that bonding is the glue that holds you together. Is this case, correct?
Yes.
So that probably, by definition, is the foundation of many of your conversations. Do you agree?
We've grown into friends where we talk about many other things besides the case.
Sure. The movie you saw last weekend and what kids are doing yesterday.
Yes, and yes, absolutely. We talk many different things, just like
That's a long ass time. Because she said we never talked about the testimony. Yeah, you did. Many times. It's just that she won't admit it. So Jackson has to drag it out of her. This is a witness who doesn't want to tell the truth.
girlfriends do.
I'm just concerned with asking you about the subject matter of this case and the details and the facts of this case. You two have probably talked hundreds of times. That's fair to say. About your individual perceptions, your respective perceptions of this case, correct?
This happened 3 years ago, and we've talked about it time and time again. This case has traumatized us, so
And
it's a
talking
huge part
about-
of our lives.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's, I'm sorry. I believe it just traumatized our lives.
Okay. It would be impossible for you two to have had so many conversations about your respective perceptions of the details of that day without that influencing the other person, correct? You've somehow been influenced by Miss Roberts's perceptions and her memories, correct?
I don't think I would say influenced.
Would you say that she's been influenced by your perceptions and your memories?
Objection.
Would you say that, Ms. McCabe?
No, I wouldn't.
Next question.
How many times have you met with anybody from the DA's office? And I'm just going to limit the time frame right now in anticipation of your appearance in this trial yesterday and today.
I'd say roughly 4 or 5.
Can you give me a time frame when those 4 or 5 meetings were?
I don't have dates. I do remember at one point I met with Mr. Brennan. He was new to the case, so I went in and he introduced himself.
How long ago was that? Weeks or months?
Maybe I can't give you a time frame. I'm sorry.
Do you think it was last summer?
No,
Do you think it was?
no, it was more recent.
Okay.
Yeah,
It wasn't in the fall of last year.
No,
It was in 2025 sometime.
I believe so. Yes.
You think it might have been February, January?
Again, I can't give you an exact. I'm sorry.
All right. I want to talk about the time frames of those.
For context, he had a perfect memory during the direct examination from the prosecution. Absolutely flawless memory of everything. Here, she experienced something we call cross-amnesia, that during cross-examination, about more or less the same events, her memory is gone. It goes vague.
Then I'll ask you a little bit more about those conversations. So that was the first meeting that you had was with Mr. Brennan in anticipation of your testimony. What were the subsequent 4 meetings or so that you've had? With whom and approximately what time?
Okay, so another meeting with Mr. Brennan. Are you looking for who was
Sure.
there?
Who else was there?
I mean, can I give you a general answer? I didn't write down like every meeting who was there,
Of
but
course.
generally.
Was
Okay.
Mr. Lally there?
During 1 or 2 of the meetings, he was. Yes.
Was Ms. McLaughlin there?
Yes.
Was there anybody else from the DA's office there?
The officer, or Trooper Tully was there at 1. Trooper Buchanan was there at 1. The witness advocates were there. And again, give or take the particular meeting.
Those are 2 meetings that you've talked about with Mr. Brennan and others. What about the 3rd meeting?
No, I'm sorry. I was lumping a few of them together.
Sure,
I
understood.
apologize.
How many meetings would you have? Let's just start there. How many meetings have you had with Mr. Brennan and either staff or colleagues?
So after the first initial meeting, I would say, again, I didn't write them down off the top of my head. I can think of 2 or 3 more after that.
Okay.
Excuse me, first initial one.
So that's either 4 or 5 meetings with Mr. Brennan and some combination of his colleagues, Mr. Lally, Ms. McLaughlin, perhaps, Mr. Nelson, perhaps, the other employee of the DA's office, and Troopers Buchanan and Trooper Tully.
Correct.
You asked questions about in any of these meetings. I'm just going to lump them all together. Any of these 5 meetings. By the way, when was the most recent?
Last night, I had a Zoom call in regards, I think the court asked them to.
Yes, I'm going
Yeah,
to stop you right there.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask a different question, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to lead you through this question.
Okay.
You had a conversation last night. I'm not interested in that particular conversation. That was for a very specific purpose. I'm asking you about everything leading up to, but not including last night's conversation, okay?
Okay.
So let's just leave that one out. You had, I think you mentioned either 4 or 5 other meetings with Mr. Brennan and some combination of his colleagues and or law enforcement.
Yeah, and I might have, in the 5, included that one from last night.
Okay, fair enough. Were you asked questions in those, we're just going to call them 4 meetings. Were you asked questions during those 4 meetings about your testimony at the first proceeding last year?
I reviewed I did review some of my testimony, yes.
In what format?
I watched.
Paper transcript or
No, we just watched a little bit of it.
do you watch your direct examination?
A little bit, yes.
Did you watch your cross-examination?
A little, yes.
Who cross-examined you?
You did,
That was me.
yes.
And did you watch the redirect or any part of it?
No.
Did you watch any part of any subsequent version of recross or additional questions that you were asked?
I don't believe so, no.
Was there a specific area that Mr. Brennan asked you to look at and review in terms of your direct or your cross-examination?
No.
Did you watch the entirety of the direct examination and the entirety of the cross-examination?
I do not believe so, no.
Were you questioned by Mr. Brennan following your review of that direct and cross-examination?
No.
So he didn't ask you any questions about any of your answers?
I don't, he showed me a dash cam and would ask me to point out who's this, who's that, a waterfall video, is this you, is this somebody? Those are the type of questions that he asked me.
What about any discussion about your demeanor and how you performed in the last proceeding? Objection.
Sister.
I'll ask it again.
Yeah. In the first trial, Jan McCabe was very flamboyant, I would say. She was making quite some faces, grinning her teeth, she was being a shit. Let's just say that. Didn't come across as a good person. She had training before the second trial. It's obvious she had training. As Jan says, she was Jan the couch fairy. She was overly hostile. So she has practiced in not being a bitch.
What about your demeanor? I'm using probably a poor word before. How you came across your demeanor in the last proceeding?
Sister.
Did you discuss changing your demeanor in any way, shape, form, or fashion from the last trial to, the last proceeding to this trial, my mistake. From the last proceeding to this trial, was your demeanor ever discussed?
No, I was just told to slow down, answer the question, and, answer it to the best of my memory.
Was there any discussion about talking about your background, for instance, your family and your children and being a sports mom, as you talked about in your direct examination?
No, I believe I did that in the previous one as well.
Was there any discussion about crafting your testimony in any way to suggest a softer approach?
No.
Was there any discussion about how to develop your testimony from beginning to end? Okay.
Sustained.
Did Mr. Brennan ask you about, or let me ask it a different way. Did Mr. Brennan take you through a series of questions, for instance, as almost a test run of questions that you might be asked either in direct examination or cross-examination?
No.
Did you practice your testimony with any member of the DA's office?
No.
Were there any sessions where you sat and were subjected to a cross-examination, like a fake cross-examination or a fake direct examination?
No, that
Anything
wasn't.
like that?
No.
What were the things that stand out in your mind? You said you had at least 4 meetings. How long was each meeting, by the way, ish?
The first meeting, I think, was fairly quick. It was just the introduction.
30 minutes, less than 30 minutes?
Okay. Let's take a break right here, because now you've heard how Alan Jackson is talking a lot about the prior proceeding, which is trial 1, but for some reason, they can't say that to the jury that it has been a previous trial. So let's compare how she has been acting here with how she did in the first trial.
Good morning. All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. McCabe, family is important to you, is it not?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, it's probably fair to say that family is one of the most important things in your life.
Yes.
You indicated on Friday that you know John O'Keefe, or you knew John O'Keefe, and you considered him a friend.
Yes.
You also indicated that you know Ms. Reed, and at some point you considered her a friend.
Yes.
Clearly, John O'Keefe was not family, was he?
No.
He was not a McCabe, correct?
No.
He was not an Albert.
No.
Karen Reed is not family, correct?
Correct.
Not a McCabe.
No.
She's not an Albert.
No.
Ms. McCabe, when you were at Waterfall on the evening of the 28th, going into the early morning hours of the 29th, you spent some time with John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
Correct.
You didn't see any tension between the two of them at the time?
No.
Matter of fact, they seemed like a normal couple to you?
I didn't see them interact much.
They were both engaging with you, correct?
I had separate conversations with them.
So John O'Keefe, we've seen from several videos, I'm not going to play the video, John O'Keefe was situated for the most part over in that corner as the camera is looking, the right corner of the bar, along with you, the O'Keefe's, I think Matt McCabe was over there as well, correct?
I can't be sure, but I know I spoke to Karen in that corner.
And certainly you saw nothing to suggest that there was any tension or discord between and among those individuals, certainly between Ms. Reed and Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
When you left Fairview, were you among the first to leave or among the last to leave?
I left with, there was 4 of us that left total. It was
Which one?
myself, my husband, Matt, Julie Nagel, and Sarah Levinson.
When you walked out, Karina O'Keefe was close by, close in town, correct?
Oh, wait, are you talking about leaving the waterfall?
You wanted-
Oh, I'm sorry. I was confused. I was talking about Fairview. Leaving the waterfall?
Correct.
Yes, we were one of the last to leave.
All right. And Miss Karina O'Keefe was sort of in tow right with you as you were walking out, correct?
Yes,
Karen Reed, my client, was also heading that direction as well, correct?
yes.
You said something to Miss Reed, did you not? As you walked out.
We were in a conversation. Yes.
Did you say specifically, "You're coming with me"? To Karen.
No,
You didn't say that.
not exactly those words.
What exactly were the words that you used?
I said, why don't you come with me?
And you even waited outside in what was ultimately freezing cold temperatures for Miss Reed, correct?
Yes.
If you could take a look, Your Honor, with your permission, Exhibit 53, I'd like to play about maybe a 15-second clip from that.
Okay.
Mr. McCabe, do you recognize what's depicted in this portion of the video?
I see a car. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know what that thing on the white thing is.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. Let's see if you recognize any of this. Pause, please. Oh, that's a terrible place to pause. A little further. It's also not super clear. Can you see a person in that video?
From where I'm sitting now.
It's a little tough.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and play it forward. Well, actually, we can enhance that just a little bit. Did you see a person in the background right there?
Honestly, I can't make out what that is.
Let's play it forward and see if this helps. Okay. Now do you see a person?
Yes.
The lighting is terrible. I apologize. Not my video. Do you know who that person is?
I don't know.
That's you, isn't it?
I can't tell from that picture if that's me.
Okay, let's maybe play it a little bit further forward. Awesome. Now, with the flag out of the way, do you recognize anybody in the foreground down at the bottom right?
That looks to be John.
Mr. O'Keefe?
Yes,
Do you see someone to his right?
I do. Yes.
And who's that person?
I cannot make it out in the photo.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it forward. And pause. You see the person with the sort of white shoes just above the car.
Yes.
Does that appear to be you?
I can't make that out that it's me, but I know I was there and I know I spoke with them.
Okay, so you do recall walking outside and sort of waiting and hovering in about that area, correct?
I was talking with them.
Okay. Does it appear that you're talking with them in
No.
this frame?
That looks like they've walked away.
Right. As a matter of fact, it looked like they walked away without talking to you outside, correct?
Well, do you have video of moments before that when I was standing talking to them?
Well, gee, this is the point where I get to ask the questions and you get to answer. So I'm
Okay.
asking you, do you see yourself?
Yeah. She's quite a bit more combative.
Standing in the parking lot after John and the person to his right had walked away.
Yes.
Okay. Let's play it for just a few more seconds. Pause. And what do you appear to be doing back home?
Walking to my car.
Okay, so you turn around and left after Mr. O'Keefe and the person to his right walking away, correct?
Correct.
As you sit here, even though the video leaves a little to be desired, you know that John O'Keefe left with Karen, correct?
Yes,
So the person to his right, the more petite person with the long hair, that would be Karen.
I would assume.
Okay. So you waited out in the parking lot for a few minutes after you said or joked, "You're coming with me," or something like that, correct?
I wouldn't. No, I was speaking to them and then I walked to my car.
You didn't say to Mr. O'Keefe, "You're coming with me." You said to Karen Reed, "You're coming with me," or something to that effect, correct?
Mr. O'Keefe was not outside when I said to Karen, "You're coming with me." I told Karen, "You're coming with me," because John was still in the bar with Matt.
So you asked Karen to come with you in your car
Yes,
to give her a ride,
yes,
separate from John O'Keefe.
yes, I figured he could go with Matt because they were still in the bar.
Was there a reason why you wanted to separate Miss Reed from Mr. O'Keefe at that moment?
No,
Why not just walk to your car with Matt and go where you're going to go?
Matt was still inside.
So you thought it was important enough to make the statement, "You're coming with me," or something to that effect to my client, to separate her from John O'Keefe, even though your testimony is John O'Keefe was just inside the bar.
Objection.
Sustained as to that form. Ask it differently.
Sure. Did you believe it was important at that point to ask Miss Reed to come with you, which would separate her from John O'Keefe?
There was never any idea of separating them.
Except for the fact the idea was, "You're coming with me," not "you two are coming with me," correct?
Incorrect.
By definition, if she came with you, you'd be separating her from John, wouldn't you?
We were standing outside
Question
talking.
could be answered yes or no. By definition, your statement to her, "You come with me," would separate her from John, wouldn't it?
It would not, because we were all going back to Fairview Road.
But not at the same time, ma'am, correct? Your idea is to bring Karen with you, separate and apart from John.
We were waiting for John to come out, and I said, "Why don't you just come with me?" It was innocent.
I'm not asking for your explanation. You'll get to that as well. I'm asking for a yes or no question, or yes or no answer. By definition, your invitation would separate Karen from John, would it not?
Objection.
Right?
Sustained. Move on.
Would it or wouldn't?
Yeah. Now, she is a little bit like this in the second trial, but here, now, throughout cross-examination, it gets worse. Do not ever agree with the defense. Always make shit up. Always. Just not agree with the defense. So let's go back to the retrial, where we just heard, have you had some training in portraying yourself?
Right. I don't want to give a time because I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I was fairly quick, yes.
Okay. What about the second meeting?
Again, I don't know specific meetings, but I can tell you that there was a longer one where I did watch some dash cam video, look at different pictures, things like that.
What kind of pictures did you look at, other than the dash cam video?
The pictures of John's house.
Okay. The same photos that we saw today?
Yes.
How long in total would you say all of those meetings were? Just taking them all together.
I really can't give you an estimate. I think the first one was fairly quick. The second one, one of them was a little bit longer, maybe a couple hours.
Okay. Then the third one, was that also a couple hours, or was that one fairly quick?
That was fairly quick, yes.
So fair to say between 2, 3, 4 hours total meeting times?
Again, I'd have to probably go back and look at the date and the time. I really can't give you a specific amount of time. I apologize.
Did Trooper Tully or Trooper Buchanan ask you any questions during the course of any of these meetings?
Regarding the case, no, but we did briefly talk about how my kids were, how their kids were.
But they didn't.
Buchanan is now on desk duty at a training facility. He's been away from active criminal investigations. Tully, I believe, has retired. Let's see here. Brian Tully, has retired. Almost, if not every cop involved in the Ken Reed investigation has either been fired, made retired, been transported off to another precinct, or simply resigned. Almost every cop. Have you ever heard of anything like that? Probably not, because they all went with what Trooper Michael Proctor did. And Trooper Michael Proctor was fired. And the rest of them are covering their asses. Now, Detective Tully is also one of the officers involved in the Sandra Birchmore case, where local police tried to hide the fact that Matthew Farwell, a fellow police officer, murdered Sandra Birchmore. This part of Massachusetts is so insanely corrupt that cops are protecting Matthew Farwell. The Sandra Birchmore case is, the base of it is the Farwell twins groomed and raped Sandra Birchmore. Matthew, we know, since she was a minor. And as Sandra became older, Matthew passed her around the precinct to his twin brother and to other police officers. And then a number of years later, when Sandra became pregnant, while Matthew Farwell's own wife was pregnant, he decided, allegedly, to kill her. That's the type of police officers that was involved in the Karen Reed case and the Sandra Birchmore case, and probably many, many other cases like these.
Ask you any questions about your testimony, about the case, about your memories, about specific facts.
I do not believe so, no.
During any of these meetings, was anybody taking notes? Mr. McLaughlin, Mr. Lally, Mr. Brennan, any of the troopers?
No, I don't believe so.
So there was several hours worth of meetings with you, and nobody scribed any notes that you saw.
None that I saw, no.
And these meetings were not recorded?
I do not believe so, no.
Weird, isn't it?
Mr. McCabe, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your family because I just want to make sure it's crystal clear who's who. You're married to Matt McCabe, correct?
Yes.
Your sister is Nicole Albert.
Yes.
Nicole is married to Brian Albert.
Yes.
It was Brian Albert's home that you were at 34 Fairview that you arrived at where John's body was found, correct?
Yes.
The same home where that late night gathering was on January 28th going into the morning of the 29th, correct?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself to be close with your sister Nicole and Brian?
Yes, very close.
Your families, it's not just you and Nicole, your whole families are close, correct?
Yes, we have a very close family.
How long have you known Brian Albert?
Since I was in kindergarten.
You consider him, even though he is not blood related to you, you consider him family?
Yes.
In addition to Brian and Nicole Albert, you're also very close with Chris and Julie Albert, correct?
Yes.
Just to be clear, and I'm going to do this slowly, Brian Albert's younger brother is Chris Albert, correct?
Yes.
Chris Albert is married to Julie Albert.
Yes.
You consider Chris and Julie family, even though there may not be a blood relation as well, correct?
Yes.
Chris Albert is a Canton Select Board member, is that right?
Now he is, yes.
And the Canton, that's in Canton? I said Select Board member. Did I mention Canton Select Board member?
It is in Canton,
Okay.
yes.
All right, obviously it's in Canton. The Canton Police Department reports to the Select Board, correct?
I'm not aware.
You're not aware of that echelon?
No.
Okay. You're aware that Brian Albert, your friend of, I'm not going to say how many years, but since kindergarten, was a Boston police officer.
Yes.
He had been a lifetime.
Yeah. The Alberts and the McCabes intertwined with, they are big fish in a small pond, where they are in governing positions, business owners, police officers, both locally and statewide, state trooper. Let me give you an example of what they could do. Chris Albert, I believe it was the late 90s, wasn't it? You guys correct me if I'm wrong on the years. Allegedly drove drunk and hit somebody and killed that somebody. He then disappeared for a few days because somehow nobody was interested in finding out where the fuck he was. And he shows up a few days later with an attorney, which is not illegal, and subsequently pled guilty to vehicular manslaughter and didn't spend a day in jail. Not one day. A normal person from a normal family would have been hunted down, dragged into jail, been tested, and would have spent time in actual prison. But not the Alberts, not the McCabes. They get away with shit and have done that for decades. It is in that context this trial should be seen.
Law enforcement officer for some 30 years before he retired recently, correct?
Yes.
He's a trained first responder, obviously.
Yes.
Brian Albert and Chris Albert have another brother named Kevin Albert, correct?
Yes.
Kevin Albert is a detective with a police department, correct?
Yes, I believe that's his title. I'm not
Which police department is Kevin Albert associated with?
Canton.
And you've grown up in Canton your whole life, you indicated.
Yes.
Your entire family has grown up in Canton, correct?
Yes.
And you, Ms. McCabe, have three sisters. Nicole, we've talked about. You also have a sister named Shelley, is that right?
Michelle, yes.
Michelle.
Mhm.
And Denise, who you mentioned in your direct examination.
Yes.
Nicole is also known by nickname, is that right?
Yes.
What is Nicole's nickname within the family?
Coco.
Does Shelley also have a nickname? Well, I guess Shelley is the shortened
Shelley
name for
is.
Michelle, correct?
Yes.
What about Denise?
She's Dee Dee.
Dee Dee?
Yeah. Deedee.
Your father lives close by in a neighboring town, correct?
Yes.
Don't tell me the town, but it's relatively close to Canton.
20 minutes, yes.
Okay. His name is Tom Weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. Remember the letter that the House defendants wrote to Tim Pool, where they claim TurtleBoy named family members. No. At trial, because they are so intertwined in this case, all of the family members, they were named publicly. That is not Aidan revealing names of family members. That is in court proceeding. These names were public in 2 trials. And that they are now saying, when Aidan does it, it's nefarious, it's criminal. Fuck you. This is why the Alberts and the McCabes are mentioned in this trial, because of the Alberts and the McCabes. Public record. This is how we can tell that note, that cease and desist letter, was entirely in bad faith.
There are, I'm not going to go through all of them right now because the family tree is getting large, but there are children, cousins, second cousins, nephews, aunts, uncles. There's a combination of familial relations within that set of folks that I just talked about, Chris and Brian and Nicole and you and Matt and the folks that we just talked about.
Yes.
That family, that large family, celebrates holidays together, I'm guessing?
We don't typically, celebrate with Kevin and Chris, but my family does, yes.
Along with Brian, Albert, and Nicole?
Yes, of course.
Birthdays are celebrated within that family?
Yes.
Go on vacations together, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Gatherings like the one on the 28th?
Yes.
Special events?
Yes.
Spend weekends together?
Yes.
You mentioned a lot of sporting events. There's a lot of sporting events that y'all go to together.
Yes.
So it is very, very easy to see that it's an extremely close-knit family.
Yes.
And naturally, you're very protective of your family, as anybody would be.
Yes, I love my family.
You also said that you knew, and your words, liked Karen Reed, my client, on the 28th of January, 2022, correct?
Yes.
But she very much is not family, correct?
Correct.
She certainly was not as important to you as your actual family, the Alberts, the McCabes, the folks associated with them. Is that right?
Yes.
On January 28th, 2022, members of the Albert family and the McCabe family all went to a bar together, had drinks together that night. Waterfall, we've heard a little bit about that, correct?
Correct.
Ultimately, you went back to your sister's house for the after party that we've heard so much about. That was at Brian Albert's house, is that right?
Yes.
You've been interviewed, I think you indicated multiple times. You didn't even give a number of how many times you've been interviewed by police in this case. Is that right?
Yes.
Your family is connected to people at Boston Police Department. We just talked about that. Brian Albert, is that right?
Well, was a Boston police officer.
Right. So when I say connected, there's some familial or family or friendly connection to that police agency, Boston Police Department. It'd be Brian Albert in this case, correct?
The objection sustained.
There's also a connection to the Massachusetts State Police through your family. Is that right? Okay.
So define connection.
Julie and Chris Albert are very, very close to you. Right.
I'm close with Julie and Chris, yes.
You're aware that Michael Proctor's sister, Courtney, is basically best friends with Julie.
No, I'm not aware of that. She's best friends with Julie's sister, Jillian.
Okay, so Courtney's best friends with Jillian, who's sisters to Julie,
Yes.
who's married to Chris, who's an Albert, who's the little brother of Brian Albert.
Yes.
Okay.
All intertwined. And remember, Trooper Michael Proctor, now fired because of his conduct in this case. That's the connection, which should have made him, no, I cannot handle this case because I'm very close to it. Instead, he interfered in it, made himself the lead detective. And all of a sudden, evidence disappears. Other evidence mysteriously show up where it shouldn't be. Video recordings are kept from the defense. On more or less the day after, there was a press conference of sorts where they publicly spoke about a ring camera capturing the event. Neighbor, not directly across, but across, sideways, so to speak, diagonally, had a ring camera. That was never collected, allegedly. Isn't that strange? That a ring camera, who would have recorded parts, at least would have recorded if what happened, what the state claimed, that Kearney drove forward, stopped, and then reversed it at 24 miles an hour. That would have been captured. But according to the prosecution, according to the investigators, that ring camera was never collected, even though they publicly said, we have a ring camera who caught the event. And then it disappeared. Strange, isn't it? Or not, when the suspects, other than Karen Reed, would have been a local cop family.
In Canton Police Department, there's also some connections there as well, Kevin Albert being the most obvious of them. Objection.
I'm going to allow that. Do you have a connection with the Canton Police Department?
Not with the department, but with Kevin Albert.
Right, who's a member of the department.
Yes, but my relationship's with him.
Understood. You've indicated that you've been interviewed by law enforcement agents associated with Massachusetts State, with Canton Police Department. That'd be Officer Lank.
Yes.
Can I stop
Officer
you for a
Good.
second and see counsel at sidebar, please?
Sure.
All right, Mr. Jackson, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. When last we left off, we were talking a little bit about some of the familial connections that your family has with certain law enforcement agencies. We talked about Boston.
Now, if you want to know about what happened at the sidebars, there are a bunch of channels who have the transcripts from the sidebars. And those are very, very interesting in showing how Judge Beverly Cannone put her thumb on the scale of justice on behalf of the McAlberts.
Police Department, obviously, Brian Albert. We talked a little bit about Massachusetts State Police and knowing friends of friends with regard to Chris and Julie, correct?
Yeah.
Knowing friends of Chris and Julie.
Friends of Chris and Julie.
Is that your relationship?
With who?
I'd ask you that. I'll ask you a different question.
Okay.
A little bit vague. Courtney Proctor is friends with Julie's sister,
Yes.
and obviously Courtney also knows Julie and Chris, correct?
Sustained.
And there's also a connection to Canton Police Department through Kevin Albert. Is that right? Exactly.
Can you answer that? Is there a connection? Do you have a connection with the Canton Police Department through Kevin Albert?
Not with the police department, but Kevin Albert is Brian Albert's brother.
Right. And Kevin works for whom?
The Canton Police.
Thank you. So you've been interviewed many times by different law enforcement agencies, be they Massachusetts State Police, Canton Police, or otherwise, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Those interviews have not just been over the period of weeks, it's been over the period of weeks and months and even years since this occurred, correct?
Yes.
You were contacted by another law enforcement agency that was not Massachusetts State Police and not Canton Police Department at one point in April of 2023. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I want to talk for a second about that series of interview or that interview. You were contacted at your residence by these members of this law enforcement agency, correct?
Yes.
All right. Later that same day, you did sit down with those same law enforcement officers for a formal interview.
On that.
On that same day that you were contacted by them, they also went into your home and actually interviewed you, correct?
Yes, it was brief.
All right. Those law enforcement officers identified themselves as being associated with an agency that is not Massachusetts State Police. You understood that?
Yes.
And you understood that they were not involved with Canton Police.
Oh, here we go. This wasn't in the first trial because the defense didn't have the knowledge about this. What they are talking about, this separate law enforcement agency, that's the FBI, folks, who are looking to talk to Jen McCabe. Oh, the
Police Department either, correct?
Correct.
Completely separate agency, is that right?
Yes.
During the course of that interview, those officers informed you very specifically, Ms. McCabe, that it is a crime to lie to them, even during an interview, correct?
Yes.
Those law enforcement officers informed you that they were investigating certain circumstances attendant to John O'Keefe's death, correct?
They were very vague on what they were.
Understood.
I don't know what they were investigating.
But you did understand that it was having something to do with your involvement at 34 Fairview on January 28th, 29th, 2022.
Yeah.
As a witness or otherwise?
Sustained as to certain terminologies.
Sure. Let me see if I can rephrase that, Ms. McCabe. You were aware of the subject matter of their interview, right? They weren't interviewing about a car you bought last year, correct?
Correct.
They were interviewing you about, basically, about what you're testifying to here, correct?
When I first spoke with them, the conversation was pretty vague.
But the subject matter, vague or specific, was about this subject matter.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. They first contacted you telephonically. Called you on the phone. Is that right?
Actually, they walked up to my car.
They walked up to your car.
Yes.
Okay, that was the very first introduction, correct?
Yes.
At that point, they had not identified themselves, correct?
They didn't know.
All right, and at that point, you told them that you were not Jennifer McCabe. They asked you who you were, and you said, I'm Nicole.
I thought they were like selling something. So I was like, oh, no, I'm not the homeowner.
Fair enough, fair enough. However, after you said, I'm not Jennifer McCabe, you walked into the house, they then called you on the phone.
Yes.
They were
Correct.
still sitting outside your house.
I don't know where they were, but they did call me.
They were close by.
I'm not aware.
Well, the call came almost immediately after you walked back in the house, correct?
I'm not sure how much time had passed.
Give me an idea. It wasn't an hour. It was
No, it was
5 to
soon
10
after. I'm just not sure. I can't tell you where they were located. I'm sorry.
okay. They told you that they would, at that point, they identified themselves as being law enforcement agents, correct?
When they called me, yes.
And they told you at that time that they were not with Canton Police. You knew at least they were not with Canton Police Department. They were not with the troopers with Massachusetts State Police, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they told you that they would like to have an interview with you. They'd like to have a sit-down talk with you, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you would be willing to submit to an interview, but you needed about 10 minutes to get ready, correct?
Yes.
You ultimately did allow them into your home, and you did sit down for a formal interview with them, correct?
Yes, brief, but yes.
And it was during that formal interview inside the home that it was explained to you that it would be a crime for you to lie to them on any material issue, correct?
Yes.
During the course of your interview, your husband, Matt McCabe, came home. Is that right?
Yes.
As these law enforcement agents continue to question you, as law enforcement officers continue to question you at some point, you inform them that you did not feel comfortable with any further questioning and you suspended the interview, correct?
Yes.
Before leaving, however, those same law enforcement officers asked you if you had contacted anyone in those 10 minutes when you indicated, I need 10 minutes to get ready, between the time they called you and the time that they showed up and came inside your house, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe,
Yes.
which is why he came home, right?
Yes.
And you told them that you had called Carrie Roberts before they interviewed you, correct? At that moment.
I'm not 100% sure, but if you have it,
Can you
it seems
Twitchy. Oh, she knows what's coming. Oh, wait, folks, it gets worse.
like something I would do, but if you have it, it could show me.
Absolutely. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
First, I'm going to ask you, Ms. McCabe, if you recognized that as being a report of that interview, just general. Yes or no?
It appears to be, yes.
May I approach the witness stand and stand by the witness stand for a couple of questions?
Yes.
I can have that.
Sure.
I want to direct your attention, if I may, for court counsel, page 3 and 4, starting with the second to the last full paragraph, going into page 5, top full. I'm sorry, page 4, top full.
Okay.
You can review those two paragraphs, read them to yourself, and then look up and let me know when you're finished. May I approach on it?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
In reviewing those paragraphs, refresh your recollection as to what you told those agents initially. I'm sorry, what you told those officers initially from that other law enforcement agency, about who you contacted in that 10-minute interval.
Yes, I told them.
And you told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe,
Yes.
and Carrie Roberts.
Correct.
I want to stick with that for just a quick second. One of the first calls you made after being contacted by these other law enforcement officers from a different agency, one of the first calls you made was to Carrie Roberts. Is that right?
If she was the first one.
That's what I'm asking. One of the first two calls you made, your husband,
Right.
come home, there's law enforcement outside my door. I'm guessing is what you said, correct?
I don't remember my exact words now, but I did ask him to come home. Correct.
And
Yes.
Carrie Roberts.
Okay. Yes.
You wanted to let Ms. Roberts know that you had been contacted by certain officers from a different agency, correct?
I was curious if they had already been to her.
This, in my opinion, is consciousness of guilt. When she calls her husband, naturally, calls Carrie because she wants to know what story, if Carrie had been contacted, and what Carrie told them, so she could corroborate with that story if they had talked to her. That is people being in cahoots, not because they are telling the truth separately, but because they want to tell the same story.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
You also wanted to find out, have these law enforcement officers from this different agency contacted her, correct?
Yes, because typically if you enter a
yes or no?
town, she's.
Ms. McCabe, yes or no?
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to
That's
explain.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Is that why you contacted her, to find out if, in fact, they had contacted her before you? Yes or no?
Yes.
And you also wanted to find out what she told them, if she had been contacted by them, correct? That was your motive in calling her.
No.
So you just wanted to find out if she had contacted, but if
Yes.
she had said yes, you weren't going to say, and what the hell did they say? What did they ask you?
Well, I can't say what I would have answered, what I would have asked her, but I know I was calling to see if they had been there. Yes,
That was
correct.
your intent.
I called to ask her if they had been there. Yes.
So that was your intent, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Your motive in calling Carrie Roberts at that moment before your interview was to ensure that your story would line up with her story, Ms. McCabe. Isn't that right?
No, that is not.
You wanted to find out if she had talked to these particular law enforcement officers and what she had told them, so that your story could somehow align, or it could inform how you responded to questions that they asked you. Isn't that true?
That's not true. We both know what happened. We don't have to have a story. There is no story. There's what happened, and that's
so,
it.
So if that's true, Ms. McCabe, you have no reason to call Carrie.
Yeah. If exactly, as you actually said, if that's true, Miss McCabe, you don't have to call her because you already know. And yet, you did call her.
Ask her if she had been contacted by this law enforcement agent, because it's just the truth, right?
We're going through this whole experience together. We call each other about everything.
There will
That's
be no
nothing
reason.
more than that.
So
I'm
let her-
sorry.
Let her finish her answer. Go ahead, Ms. McCabe. You can finish that.
There's nothing more than me calling and saying, hey, did they come to your house? That's what we did when the media showed up, when Miss Reed's private investigator showed up. We just give each other the heads up, hey, somebody's coming. Because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
And that's helpful in making sure that the stories she tells are consistent with the stories you tell to different law enforcement agencies, correct?
No, we are not telling stories.
So let her finish. You said no what?
I said, no, we're not telling stories. We don't have to compare.
And if in fact, what you're saying is just the truth, there'd be no reason for you to inquire about who's contacted her when.
There's no inquiring. It's like when when the ice cream truck was at the street next door and I'm saying, did the ice cream truck come? It's really that simple.
So you asked a question,
No, no, no.
an argumentative question, and she responded in kind. Next question.
Thank you. You also testified in your direct examination, staying with Ms. Roberts for just a second, about a timeline that you and Ms. Roberts put together, correct?
Yes.
That's another example of the two of you talking about your own perceptions and comparing and contrasting those perceptions and putting it down on paper, correct?
No,
Yes or no?
it's a no. Can I explain or no?
I'm sure Mr. Brand will have follow-up questions.
Yeah. I believe it was Carrie Roberts who admitted on the stand during cross-examination. We will watch that on a separate occasion because it's very, very revealing. That they sat down and wrote down their separate stories so they could align what they were going to tell the cops. Is that something you do when you have nothing to hide? I would say no.
After you gave that answer to those law enforcement officers at that separate law enforcement agency, they asked you, was there anyone else that you contacted in that 10-minute period before we got a chance to talk to you? And your answer was no, correct?
Correct.
And that was a lie, correct?
It wasn't a lie. No.
Was it true? Was it the truth or a lie?
It wasn't a lie.
Okay, so it was the truth. You had not spoken to any other person between the time they contacted you telephonically and you said, I need 10 minutes, and then they came in the door. During that part of time, you didn't talk to anybody else or contact anybody else other than Matt McCabe, Carrie Roberts. Now you're testifying. That was a true statement.
I can't answer that yes or no.
So pretty binary. Had you talked?
Yeah. Guess why she doesn't. Again, she do not agree with the defense in any way, shape, or form. Even though, yeah,
Well, in point of fact, you did talk to other people. Did you contact others in addition to Matt McCabe and Carrie Roberts, right? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So when you said no to the answer, did you contact anyone other than Matt and Carrie? That would be, by definition, Ms. McCabe, a lie. Correct?
No.
It's not.
yeah. In that 10-minute span, she contacted, beside Carrie and her husband, at least 3 more people. And now she tries to say when the FBI asked her directly, did you contact anybody else beside these 2 people? And she told them no. How is that not a lie, Jen McCabe? How is that not a lie? This is so revealing.
Is there some shade of lie that I'm not aware of?
It's the way you're asking the question. If I
Okay,
could
let me ask it
explain,
different
if I could explain,
Let me ask
it
you a
will
different
make
way.
more sense to you.
The agents asked you. I'm going to go over this one more time, then I'm going to move on. The agents asked you, in fact, did you contact anyone between the time we called you and set up the interview and the 10 minutes before we walked in the door? They asked you that question, correct?
The objection sustained. Watch the choice of language.
I'm sorry. I meant the law enforcement agency. That law enforcement agency, the members of that law enforcement agency contacted you. Sorry. They asked you who you had contacted between the time they first telephoned you and walked in the door saying that's it. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Data point number one. Data point number two. You told them Matt and Carrie, correct?
Correct.
You actually contacted, they then asked you, did you contact anyone else other than Matt and Carrie, correct?
Correct.
And you said no. Is that correct?
At that moment, I said no. Yes.
Or any moment.
No, at that moment, because they had just come in my house.
I asked you,
Only one person can talk at a time.
you said the word no.
She
correct?
was finishing her answer. Finishing her answer.
I had said no because I was in a situation where there are two officers from a different agent had come in, were asking me questions, or they had said, can I come in and ask you questions? At first, I thought they were selling something. Then they identified themselves. I just dropped my kids off at school. Going to be completely honest, I hadn't brushed my teeth. So I kind of made some phone
Objection, Your
calls.
Honor. This is
Okay,
unresponsive.
so next question is.
Thank you. Ms. McCabe,
Mhm.
after you said no, that you hadn't contacted anybody else,
Mhm.
those two law enforcement officers from that separate agency who had told you it was a crime to lie to them, they left, correct?
Yes.
Subsequent to that, Mr. McCabe, your husband, objection.
Sustained.
They left you their card so you could call them if need be, correct?
Yes, they did.
And you in fact did call them back, correct?
Yes, I did.
Without telling me the content of the conversation you had, did you have a conversation with Mr. McCabe? Objection.
Sustained.
Did you call them back and say, I'm calling you back because my husband told me that I lied to you and I better clear that lie up?
So sustained. Jurors, remember I told you before that only answers to questions are evidence? Be mindful of that. Next, yes.
Yeah, as yeah, as a Living Story World says, as much as Bev drives me absolutely wild and should not be on any bench ever, everything she claimed she didn't want to happen, she quite literally caused to happen based on her decisions. Yeah. Folks, the questions that Alan Jackson is asking here are directly from the FBI files. This is her own words to the FBI, which Bev says you, the jury, are not allowed to hear. Again, this trial is wild in the amount of shit decisions by a shit judge. Because the judge somehow doesn't like that Jan McCabe is being portrayed as the liar she is. She lied to the FBI. First by saying, when they contacted her, oh no, it's not me. It's she said it was. She said she was her sister. Then during the answered questions, and then they asked, "Did you contact anybody else besides your husband and Carrie?" And she said no. Now Matt knew Matt knew this was going to come back to bite her and them. Because he knew if the FBI is there asking questions, the FBI already have or will find out if you are lying. So he had her call them back and say, yes, I called other people, including but not limited to the district attorney's office.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. You ultimately called these officers back, correct?
Yes.
And you explained to them that you had been untruthful with them, correct?
I explained that I had forgotten to mention a couple of people that I had reached out to.
You had forgotten. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
You had forgotten. You remembered Matt and you remembered Carrie, but you had forgotten the others that you had just contacted maybe 30 minutes before.
Yes.
There were 5 people that you contacted, weren't there?
I contacted Matt.
Let's go through them. I'm
Yeah.
yes or no.
I know 4 off the top of my head.
Okay, let's go through them.
Okay.
You contacted your husband, correct?
Yes.
You contacted Carrie Roberts, correct?
Yes.
You contacted Peggy O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
Then, Ms. McCabe, you contacted the district attorney's office, correct?
My witness advocate.
The district attorney's office.
My witness advocate who works
Miss-
for the district attorney's
Thank you,
office.
Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
And you also left out that you contacted Brian Albert himself, correct?
Yes, my brother-in-law.
For some reason, your brother-in-law, who's the 30-year Boston police detective, correct?
Yes.
And on whose lawn John O'Keefe was found dead or dying. Okay.
I'll allow that.
Correct?
Yes.
For some reason, you did not want these officers to know that you had communicated specifically with Brian Albert, the homeowner, just before you talked to them, correct?
No, incorrect.
There was some reason that was important enough for you to lie about that, even though you had been admonished that it's a crime to lie about that to those officers, correct?
Incorrect. I didn't lie to them. I had forgotten who I had called.
And all of a sudden, you had an epiphany right after they walked out the door?
Yes. Matt said, who have you spoken to?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it. It's out. You're not to go any further.
Ms. McCabe, I want to draw your attention to January 28th. You had gone out drinking with your family at the Waterfall Bar and Grill, correct?
I went with my husband and met my sister. Yes.
And met the other family, correct? The other family members, meaning
My niece.
Matt McCabe, Nicole, Chris, Julie, Caitlin, correct?
Yes.
And I think you mentioned Tristan was there as well.
Yes.
You were later joined by Nick and Karina Kolakithis, is that right?
Yes.
Ultimately, Brian Higgins showed up
Yes.
and Brian Albert showed up.
Yes.
You previously indicated that Caitlin's boyfriend, Tristan, left early for whatever reason. He had errands to run or had to get to bed early for some reason. Is that right?
He left before us. Yes.
So he didn't stay through the shank of the evening.
Through the what?
The shank of the evening, through the course of the evening.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And ultimately, at the waterfall, John O'Keefe and Miss Reed showed up as well.
Yes.
You didn't see any tension at all between John O'Keefe and Karen that night, did you?
No, we didn't.
They appeared to be getting along,
Yes.
sort of a normal couple having a nice evening out together.
Yes.
Neither John nor Karen Reed appeared drunk or inebriated, out of sorts.
No, I wouldn't categorize them as drunk or inebriated.
And not
But again, I don't know what the definition of drunk is.
well, that's a fair statement. I'm not asking for their BAC, but they didn't appear to be stumbling around, falling all over themselves, and sloppy drunk, correct?
No.
Out of control, nothing like that.
No.
Okay. You did see Brian Higgins and Brian Albert at a high top table, sort of together through the course of that evening, correct?
We were all kind of around.
Yeah. I'm going to skip ahead because there is an instant where they are talking about a Jeep. And I'm going to compare let's see here. Where is it? Well, while I search for it, let's talk about the Jeep.
Right where they are, just
Okay.
kind of right in the next room.
When you first pulled up Did you notice any vehicles in front of Brian Albert's house?
Yes, I did.
What vehicles did you notice? Vehicle or vehicles? Did you
Just
notice?
one.
What was that vehicle?
It was a Jeep.
Can you describe the Jeep for us, please?
I really can't. All I can say is that when I pulled down, the Jeep was on the parked on the street in front of the mailbox, and I turned into the driveway.
Okay. Did the Jeep have any special features on it that you remember? Can you describe?
Not that I can recall.
Big giant snowplow on the front?
Again, it was dark. I didn't really pay much detail to it beyond I just asked, whose Jeep is that?
And did you learn whose Jeep that was?
I did, yes.
Whose Jeep was it?
It was Brian Higgins' Jeep.
And you said that it was parked in front of the mailbox. Is that right?
Yes.
So as you're looking at the house, the mailbox would be closest to the driveway. Is that right?
Yes.
Rather than, for instance, the flagpole on the other side of the lawn.
Correct. So if the flagpole's here, there's the lawn, and then here's the drive. I mean, here's the mailbox, and then the driveway's over here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does to me.
Okay.
Thank you for that. You've previously indicated that the back edge of that vehicle, Brian Higgins' Jeep, was at the side, basically, of the driveway, which is what you've just described. It would be blocking the mailbox, the rear end associated with the driveway entrance, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever discussed having seen that Jeep in that spot with anybody else in this case?
Is that including previous testimony or?
It is. At any time. Before you testified at the previous hearing, had you discussed having seen that Jeep in that spot with anybody else? For instance, your husband. Okay. Was there any other car on that curb line, if you will, other than the Jeep when you pulled in?
Not that I remember.
And Brian Higgins, if it's his Jeep, he's in the house. That Jeep's not moving, correct? So it stayed where it was.
Yes.
At some point, did you observe Miss Reed's vehicle pull up to the driveway? I'm sorry, pull up to the house.
I was told there was a vehicle outside, so I went and looked.
Where
Yes.
was that vehicle? When you looked that first time, where was Miss Reed's SUV?
When I went to the front door and looked out, it was straight ahead.
For context, in the first trial, her testimony was quite different regarding the Jeep and Ken Reed's SUV. The most important thing is that she testified that she had eyes on the SUV at 12:41, and she claimed during the first trial, because she somehow, she was texting and watched what time it was, so she had a clear recollection of it. Problem with that is, folks, Karen Reed's phone connected with John O'Keefe's Wi-Fi at 12:36, 7 to 8 minute drive away. Isn't that strange? How in the first trial, her recollection about the cars, the Jeep, the everything was tuned into a later time of night, up until it was revealed after her testimony that Karen Reed's phone and SUV was long gone by 12:41. There's another thing about this scenario here, but let's keep listening here, and I will talk to you about another scenario.
That would be parallel, actually in line with the Jeep, correct?
Yes.
Directly in front of the Jeep.
I don't know the distance, but yes, you're correct. It was in front of the Jeep.
So if the Jeep was it's a full-size Jeep, correct?
I don't know what size it is.
Certainly the SUV is a full-size SUV.
Yes.
Right. So that would take up much of the room of the curb area in front of 34 Fairview, between the Jeep, assuming there's a snowplow,
Right.
and a full-size SUV, correct?
I'm not really sure of the whole area, but there was the Jeep and then there was the car. I just don't know the distance between them.
You gave a description of the vehicles that were out in front of 34 Fairview in your January 29, 2022 interview with Trooper Proctor, correct?
He came to my house and asked me questions, correct?
When you gave that interview to Trooper Proctor, you indicated to him that you first observed Miss Reed's vehicle parked on the street by the driveway, correct?
I never said by the driveway, no.
So if that's in a report, Trooper Proctor got that fact wrong, got that detail wrong.
Sustained.
If in fact, well, let me ask it this way. What did you say to Trooper Proctor about where that vehicle was?
Miss Reed's vehicle?
Correct.
I told him it was straight out front, the window. Oh, the straight out front of the front door. Sorry.
Trooper Proctor wrote a report about his interview with you, correct?
Correct.
You've seen that report in other hearings, is that right?
Yes.
Your interview with him was on January 29th. Do you remember the date? I'm sorry, I just said the date. Do you remember the time? My mistake.
I don't remember the exact time. I'm assuming afternoon, like after 12, or I'm not 100%. Sorry.
You had been contacted by Trooper Proctor while you were still at 34 Fairview, is that right?
Yes.
Ultimately, instead of coming from the Canton Police Department to 34 Fairview, you went home to your house.
I did.
To
Yes.
the Country Lane address.
Yes, I did.
And Trooper Proctor ended up meeting you there, correct?
Yes.
And in addition to you and Matt being there,
Mhm.
Brian Albert showed up, correct?
I asked him to come.
So you asked your brother-in-law to come to the interview that you were having with Trooper Proctor formally in furtherance of his investigation surrounding the circumstances of this case.
No,
But Brian Albert did show up at your house.
he did. I asked him to come.
And he was
Yes.
inside the house when Trooper Proctor ultimately interviewed you, correct?
He was in the house. Yes.
And you'd spoken to Brian Albert before Trooper Proctor had interviewed you formally, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Matter of fact, several times you had spoken to him at 34 Fairview. You've already said that. Right?
Oh, right. Yeah. We were all there in the
And
kitchen.
then obviously you spoke to him about the interview before Trooper Proctor got to your house to interview you on the 29th as well, correct?
We were just talking about what happened. It wasn't specifically about Trooper Proctor.
Right. Not about Trooper Proctor. You talked to Brian Albert about the circumstances of this case before you spoke with Trooper Proctor.
Yes, I had.
Do you remember exactly what you said to Trooper Proctor about the location of the SUV in front of the house?
I know what I said. Yes.
Okay, what exactly did you say?
I said the car was straight out front of the front door. When I was looking out the front door, it was straight ahead.
Isn't it true that what you actually said, Ms. McCabe, is that you first observed the vehicle parked on the street by the driveway facing in the direction toward Chapman? Okay.
I'll allow it. Is that what you said?
Those are not my words. No.
Okay, next question.
You've already indicated that
Everybody's
following
throwing
the events of
Proctor under the
January
bus.
28th and 29th, you have spoken extensively with your family and your friends, members of your family and your friend group about what happened that night, correct?
Yes.
And that includes Brian and Nicole Albert, is that right?
Yes.
That includes Matt McCabe, your husband, correct?
Yes.
That includes Chris and Julie Albert.
Yes.
Includes other people that were there that night, including Brian Higgins.
I haven't spoken to Brian Higgins since, I believe, John O'Keefe's wake.
But you did speak to him that morning at 34 Fairview, is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yes, he was there. Yes.
As a matter of fact, he's the one that told you to call Officer Lenk back and have Officer Lenk come back for the.
All right, folks. I'm going to have a little break in her testimony to show you something based on Jen's testimony at trial 1 and trial 2. Let me show you. This is 34 Fairview. According to, well, let's see how good I am at this. According to Jen McCabe, that's a really... Yeah. There were cars here and here, but and I believe also one here. Here is the Jeep, right here, according to Jen McCabe. And Karen Reed parks, here's the front door, parks here. Now, the state's case is that Karen Reed had an argument in the car with John O'Keefe. There's no evidence of that. Drove forward to around here. John O'Keefe, for some odd reason, is roughly around here. According to the state, she backs into John O'Keefe at 24 reverses for 24 miles an hour, hits John, and for another half second, there's no recorded data about hitting the brakes, according to the state's theory. Now, at 24 miles an hour, if she brakes after half a second, she is around here. Now, why do I say this angle? Well, because here, roughly here, in this angle, is where the shards are discovered. So it has to be in an angle, because physics doesn't lie. Physics doesn't care about politics and doesn't care at all. So if she hit John, continued for half a second to around here before hitting the brakes, where does she stop, assholes? Well, either she's hitting the Jeep somehow, this car, or might even drive into, depending, because it's winter, it's slippery, she could have gone anywhere, but she would absolutely have hit something in this area, if not everything. This is the state's own theory. This is the state's own evidence, with the shards of glass, John being hit here, and she continues for at least half a second without touching the brake. Do you now understand why I, on social media, on other streams, on videos, say physics says John O'Keefe was not hit by Karen's SUV? 5 different doctors. Well, doctor in crash reconstruction. I mean, you have highly skilled people, including the state's own medical examiner, says John O'Keefe was not hit by a car or an SUV. And the damages to Karen's SUV is not from hitting John O'Keefe, because physics says so. It's not that hard. If what they claim, the state itself, if they claim she hit him at 19, 24, 23.5, what, they changed the number, but data doesn't lie. After that 24 mile an hour, 19 mile an hour, she did not touch the brake. She would have hit anything or everything, bumping like within a fucking pinball machine. She didn't hit John. And now, so how did all of these shards of glass or taillight glass end up in this specific angle at that place if Karen didn't hit John? Well, if you rule out what can't happen due to physics, it has to have gotten there some other way. Right? Because this is what Jen McCabe testified. Here's the Jeep. She saw the SUV here. Everybody was parked here. Everybody else. It really is that easy. Now, could John have been hit by something else? Maybe, but how did Karen Reed's Charles get there? Well, we do know he was, due to his injuries, which are clearly similar to boxing injuries. And then we have this. Hold on here. A bit of a trigger warning, because I'm going to show John's arm. These are the injuries on John's arm. Defense expert and common sense says that are bite marks and scratches from a dog. That this is what the state claims were injuries caused by the taillight. No. Fuck no. Fuck no. And who had a dog with a history of attacking other dogs and even humans? The owners of 34 Fairview. Chloe, who soon after this happened disappeared. Never been seen again. Isn't that strange? That a man is found on a lawn with fighting injuries and dog scratches and dog bites. And then the dog disappears. And since the owner of 34 Fairview is a cop, it's investigated by a friend of the family. Folks, and this goes back to the letter to Tim Pool, where the House defendants, Higgins, McCabe, Alberts, say TurtleBoy is defaming us, he's lying, yada yada yada. No. The evidence tells us not only that Karen Reed is innocent, it tells us that something happened in 34 Fairview. Now, because now I'm done with Jen McCabe, there's more to it, but she pisses me off. She pisses me off. I'm going to, oh, wrong one, that one. Next time, we're going to watch Brian Higgins. That will be tomorrow. I don't know when I can start, but because of time zones, I'm 6 hours ahead of you guys on the East Coast. I don't know if I can be home before 3 p.m. my time or 9 a.m. your time. But we are going to listen to Brian Higgins from both trials, the cross-examination. Then, if you want, we will continue with the ARCA testimony. That will show you beyond any... And I'm doing this series for not only to refresh our recollection, who has lived with this case for a number of years now, but for you guys who are new to this. That when the House defendants say that TurtleBoy is lying, you need to see that he isn't. You need to see what the evidence actually shows. That something happened inside 34 Fairview at a local, very powerful, locally family who has been literally getting away with everything for decades in this small community. How they try to get away with this by blaming Karen Reed. And here is my personal thought. They made a mistake by blaming Karen Reed. I believe they were planning on blaming somebody else. But then Karen Reed showed up, screaming, trying to save John O'Keefe. And they shifted to blame it on her. I will go through that theory with you Friday during my slightly buzzed Friday show. Yeah, I see you already guess it. Some of you already guess it. But that is for a later stream. Thank you guys for showing up. I hope this was informative. I hope I was entertaining. I hope I entertained you with my extraordinary skills in paint. But you need to know, if you're new to this case, what actually happened and why the House defendants are scared shitless of what TurtleBoy has to say. And they made the mistake of trying to do it to Tim Pool, who then went public. Hey, look what they wrote me. And now this case is back on the map again. All right. Thank you, guys. You all have a good one. And I will finish off with the free TurtleBoy song. Watch my other stuff. I have plenty of videos, short form videos, 8 to 10 minute videos, half-hour videos about other cases where the snark is much more prevalent than in this stream. until next time, from me, Mr. Jingle, who has been asleep on my couch this entire time, you all have a good one. And remember, hug your family. Unless your family's shit, then screw them and give your love to the people who deserve it. See ya. Bye-bye.
Dr. TurtleBoy walks the line, truth in his hands. Fingers pointing at shadows, he's breaking their plans. Corrupt suits in the courthouse playing their game, but the lies they sling won't tarnish his name. They try to bury him, but he won't go down, fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. TurtleBoy standing tall in the fight, truth's his weapon shining through the night. Bogus charges flying, but they can't stick. He's cutting through the darkness, sharp and quick. The gavel pounds, but his voice won't break. No matter how much they take and fake, they try to bury him, but he won't go down, fighting for justice in every crooked town. Dr. TurtleBoy standing tall in the fight, truth's his weapon shining through the night. His ground in the face of their lies, his courage resounds. For every false word there's a lie he ignites, a warrior for truth under courthouse lights. He's been bruised, but he won't lose the war, kicking down the gates of corruption's door. Dr. TurtleBoy still chasing the sun. The fight's far from over, but he's never done.